start in just a minute, so go ahead and please take a seat. Yeah, 6 feet. All right, friends, we're going to go ahead and start on page 1. Page 1. Yedid Nefesh. It's the additional soul we get on Shabbat, and after a particularly really painful week in America, we need Shabbat. We need Shabbat. Yedid Nefesh Avarachaman. Yedid Nefesh Avarachaman. Misham Avdechan. El Retzorecham. Misham Avdechan. Ya la 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 la. El Retzorecham. To turn to page 6. Yismechu Hashamayim. Yismechu Hashamayim. Yismechu Hashamayim. Yismechu Hashamayim. V'tagel haaretz. Yiramayam. 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 Umelo. Yiramayam, 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 Umelo. Turn to page 12, Romamu, Exalt God. And actually, before I move on, I want to, of course, extend a special welcome to the extended family of Avi Maidenberg, McAllen Maidenberg, whatever other names are there. Avi celebrates his bar mitzvah this weekend. He'll be leading a couple things tonight, many things tomorrow. Mazel tov. Romnemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romnemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romnemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romnemu. Romnemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Right, we turn now to page 13, Mizmor LeDavid. Mizmor LeDavid, Avol Adonai B'neim, Avol Adonai, Kavod Va'oz, Ayayna, Avol Adonai, Kevod Shemo Ishtachavu Adonai Be'adrat Kodesh, Kol Adonai Al Hamayim El HaKavod Irim, Adonai Al Marim Rabim, Kol Adonai Ba'Kol יחרש אדוני יכול את חיילות ויחר סוף יערות ובחלום כולו עובר עבר אדוני למה הוא ישב וישב אדוני מלך לעולם אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום היי 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 Lecha Dodi, page 15. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה, ונשמה לקבלה. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה, ונשמה לקבלה. שמור וזכור ודיבור אחד השמיענו אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד ושמו תפארת ולתהילה לך דודי לקראת כלה ונשמה לקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה ונשמה לקבלה לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי היא מקור הברכה בראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת לקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת לקבלה bottom of 17 יגידו שמאל תפרוצי את אדוני תריצי על ידי שבין פרצי ונצמחה ונגילה לה 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 לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת לקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת לקבלה. We rise facing the entrance, welcoming the Shabbat bride. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמרי עם סגולה, בואי כלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת לקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת לקבלה. And we say to any mourners in our midst, Makom lechem lechem b'tok she'er le'etzion b'Yerushalayim. May God comfort you with all the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. May be seated, page 19. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, לזמר לשמך עליון. והגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות. עלי עשור Continue silently. Tzadikat Amar Yifrach Keres Balvanon Yizke Shetudim Beveit Adonai Bechatzro Eloheinu Yafrichu Odenu Bun Beseva Deshenim Berananim Yehu Lehagid Ki Ashar Adonai Zuri Belo Avatabo Adonai Malach Yot Lavesh Lavesh Adonai Zitazar Aftikon Tever Baal Timo Dachon Kisacha Meaz Belmata Nasu Nerot Adonai Nasu Nerot Kolam Yisu Nerot Yam Mikolot Mahim Maim Rabim Adirim Yishmereyam Adir Bamarom Adonai Erotecha Ne'emnu Me'or Veitecha Nama Koresh Adonai Leorech Yamim. Please rise, page 22 for the Baruch Hu. Yalla la la la, 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 yalla la la la. Baruch Hu et Adonai Hameorah. Baruch Adonai Adonai l'chalam asher b'baro b'ariva ravim. B'yom v'layla v'mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or v'yom u'vein layla v'avdil ben yom u'vein layla Adonai tzod shemo el-chai v'kayam v'mit lo chalena le'lam v'ed Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariva ravim. 24 Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Aveta Amcha Aveta Torah Umi 25, we invite the sister of the bar mitzvah, Eden Bainberg, to come up and lead us in Shema Ve'ahavta and stay up for the end of the Ve'ahavta, which you know was the Lamont Easter.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta
Et Adonai Elohecha,
b'chol levavecha, b'chol nafshecha, ובכל מאודך, וחיילו הדברים האלה, אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך,
ושנתם לבניך ודיברתם, ושבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך,
ושוכבך
ובקומך, וקשרתם לאהוב לבבך, והיו בדרכו בעיניך,
ונתתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך.
Continue silently. ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים אלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אמת, אדוני אלוהיכם. יישר כוח. Top of page 32. Malchut Tov Ratzon Kibolahem Moshe Bnei Yisrael Chanu Shira B'Simcha Rabah V'Yamru Kulam Mi Chamocha Ha'elim Adonai Mi Kamocha Nechtar B'Kodesh Norah Tehillah Osef ראו בניך, חוקי הים לפני משה, ואן ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. מי כמוך, האלים אדוני, Page 33. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom V'Hamidenu Malkeinu Lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom V'Hamidenu Malkeinu Lechaim. Uvoenu Sukkot Shlomecha, Baruch Atah Adonai, Abrei Sukkot Shalom Aleinu, V'kol Yisrael, V'ol Yerushalayim. Right, page 34. Please rise for V'shamru. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael, et HaShabbat, v'laso et HaShabbat, et Olam. B'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam, oti le'olam, oti le'olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael, et HaShabbat, v'laso et HaShabbat, et Olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai, et hashamayim, ve'et haaretz, v'shamru b'nei Yisrael, et hashabbat, lasso et hashabbat, et olam. Uvayom hashvi'i, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, v'shamru b'nei Yisrael, et hashabbat, lasso et hashabbat, et olam. Remain standing for the Chatzi Kaddish, which will be led by Avi.
V'ikra Shemei Rabba, ve'ama divrak rute v'yamlik malkute,
We continue with the private Amidah now, pages 37 through 48. Go ahead and say the words in the book in which our language is most comfortable. It's also a good time for your own private meditation and prayer. Ose shalom bimroma. Ose shalom bimroma. Uyase, uyase, uyase shalom. Uyase, uyase, uyase shalom. Uyase, uyase, uyase shalom. Alleluia. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. Oh, say shalom. Turn to page 49. We invite Avi's teacher, Jacqueline, to come and lead us in the Amidah repetition.
Vayehulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzivam vayechol Elohim bayom hashvi'i melachto asher asa vayishbot bayom hashvi'i mikol melachto asher asa vayivarech Elohim et yom hashvi'i vayikadesh oto Ki v'shavat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim la'asod. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avoteinu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzhak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Racham Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanora El Elyon Kodesh Shamayim V'Haaretz Magen Avot Bidvaro Mechaye Metim V'Ma'amaro Ha'el HaKadosh She'en Kamohu Ha'Meniach Le'amo B'Yom Shabbat Kodsho Ki Vam Ratzah Lehaniach Lachem Ki vam ratzah lehaniach lachem lefanav na'avod b'yirav v'pachad v'nodeh lishmo b'chol yom tamid me'ein habrachot el ha'odot Adon Hashalom Mekadesh HaShabbat U'Borech Shavi U'Biniach B'Kedusha Le'amik Dushne Oneg Zecher L'Maaseh Bereshit Eloheinu Elohei Avoteinu Retzei B'Menuchatenu Ha'achenu b'mitzvotecha v'tein chalkenu b'toratecha Samenu mituvecha v'samchenu b'shuatecha v'taher libeinu le'avdecha ve'emet v'hankileinu Adonai Elohim Shabbat.
And we invite Avi back up once again for Kaddish Shalem.
Yikadol v'yikadol Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Ba'amad yivrakhu tei v'yam lichmachu tei. V'chayachon u'vilmachon u'chayiduchu. V'yisrael ba'agala u'vizman kari v'imaru.
Amen. V'yisrei Rabbah Menorah. Ve'olam lo ye'omaya v'yivarah.
Yivarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yishomar v'yinaseh. Yitadar v'yitolem v'yitolosh min kudusha. Ve'elam min kol birchata v'shirata. Tikahata v'nechamata da'avimran ba'alma v'imaru.
Amen.
Tikabalta l'otachon a'u v'otachon d'hu Yisrael. Kodam avachon di v'shmai v'imaru.
Amen.
Yehi shalom arav min shemaya. Achayim aleinu v'acho Yisrael v'imaru.
Amen.
Osei shalom b'momav v'ya'asei shalom. Aleinu v'acho Yisrael v'imaru.
Thank you, Avi. We look forward to much more tomorrow. So tonight I actually am going to give a small sermon, mostly because I don't get to give one for like the next 4 or 5 weeks. And so you would think that maybe I should actually be talking about the tragedy in Texas, but I'm actually not going to, other than it would be terrible not to acknowledge the deep, deep tragedy of the shooting and the public policies that, unfortunately, more than unfortunately, but the policies that lead to such a thing happening at least much easier and much more traumatically than it could. A lot of that does have to do with public policy. If you are interested in that, I'm actually going to be talking about it in the study session on Shavuot. And as I did with abortion, it's not going to just be, it's not just my political position. We're going to look at Jewish texts which impact whether you can carry weapons or not, and what kind of weapons and things like that, based on biblical and Talmudic texts. So if you are interested in that, we will be doing that. Tonight I'm going to be talking, well, about life. There's a couple of objects in the room, two of which I want to point out. There's a teddy bear, a bar mitzvah, a bar mitzvah, made by, I believe, made by Grandma, right? And so thank you. Grandma Callan made that, and it's staring at us. And then there's a cast here in front of me on this beam, which you may have noticed has a name on it. I'll explain that momentarily as well. I left last Saturday night after the bat mitzvah on a red-eye to New York. And the reason I went to New York to begin with was that I was performing a wedding on Sunday. The wedding of Jessica Delera to Leah Nussbaum. And Jessica, I've known since she was right out of college. She came and she studied Judaism with me. She was one of the best daveners we had here. She was an incredible teacher, and she loved it so much that she decided to go to rabbinical school. And 3 days before the wedding, she was ordained as a rabbi by the Jewish Theological Seminary, is now a full-fledged conservative rabbi, and she will be serving a community in Boston. And the honor for me, the blessing for me to be able to conduct a wedding of a rabbi to another rabbi in front of about 20 to 25 other rabbis, and someone that I had seen the journey. I mean, but let's face it, she was much smarter than I ever was, and was really one of the most brilliant students I've ever had, contestant on Jeopardy even, and just an incredible person, and just the honor of that, it was just amazing, and managed to carry me through the red eye I had taken. So literally I went from the airport to changing and to doing this wedding on a 92-degree Westchester County, New York day. Now, because I knew I was doing the wedding, I also knew that another student, but a bar mitzvah student at one time here, Zachary Noah Pizer, had just taken the lead role in Dear Evan Hansen. And so I was going to stay, the wedding on Sunday, the show is dark on Monday, so I was going to be there I wanted to be there through Wednesday because Tuesday night I was going to go to his performance. And I got to see his incredible performance. Zachary, as the lead in Dear Evan Hansen, he's also the first Asian Dear Evan Hansen that ever existed. He's a Jewish Asian person. I only bring that up because it's been very well publicized, mostly by the publicist for the show Dear Evan Hansen. It's been all over the Jewish press. Zach has created or has credited Temple Beth Abraham, and to the credit of the reporter in the foreword who said she expected to find the story that he didn't feel welcomed in the synagogue, or he felt odd, and that she said, no, that's not what she found at all. She found a kid that loved being Jewish, that loved, that was proud of his Asian and Jewish identities at the same time, and uses that as part of his acting. And he said in the article, I'm still close with my rabbi back at home, was coming to the show, I went to the show, and at the end of the show, he gave me the cast that is worn, signed by Connor. If you don't, it's who was a character in the show, the one, I can't explain the whole show, you have to see it. Or you can see the movie, which isn't as good, but at least you'll know the story. And it really deals with issues of mental health. I'm gonna get back to the pride I felt in seeing Zach in just a second. But in between, as so often happens in life, I went to a funeral in New York because Amy Tesler, who's here tonight, her brother, died tragically and suddenly in a car accident so large, 5 cars, it made the news out there. I mean, he was in the prime of his life and suddenly taken from us. And I will confess for a second, I was out there, I was very excited. I mean, I did the wedding, I'm gonna take a couple days of vacation, eat about 5 or 6 kosher steaks in New York. But now there's a funeral, and by the way, I'm staying in the Bronx, and it's all the way in New Jersey, and I have to go to, I've got to get the car back to Queens so I can take a couple of trains to get back to Manhattan. It's an all-day affair, I'm on vacation. Do I really want to go to this? And of course I don't want to go to this, but I need to go to this because I need to be there for the Teslers. And so, I thought about it and realized, of course I'm going to go. And it was painful. Not as painful for me as it was to his family. To see that is just, horrific. It's a different kind of tragedy than the tragedy in Texas, but it is a tragedy, and one for which there are no words. But although I'm joking, but not, I've already made this joke, so it's okay. Amy says, there were a lot of words. There were 2.5 hours worth of words at this funeral. And a lot of travel on terrible freeways that somehow make me appreciate the Bay Area traffic. Just drive in New York from Bronx to New Jersey to Queens, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. But amidst the celebration, there's tragedy, right? And that's a part of life too. And it's not just a part of being a rabbi, it's a part of living life. And all of you know that same lesson in so many different ways. So then back to Dear Evan Hansen for a moment, right? It's about mental health, really, the whole show. And it's about how we cope and try to struggle with the many tragedies that face us in life. And we hope that we're able to appreciate the celebrations in between. And I'll tell you, I certainly was seeing Zach Kvelling. I have to tell you, it was kind of even evident at 13, his talent, right? There was no shachari led like the shachari that Zach led. Very few drashot given like the drash that Zach gave. I mean, I remember, I've done close to 300, B'nai Mitzvah in my time here, but I remember that one very, very well. And he's a 28-year-old man playing a 17-year-old kid, except that in my mind, he's still a 17-year-old kid or a 13-year-old kid. So besides he's a great actor, I have no problem seeing him as the kid that he is. So what does this all mean? From weddings to funerals to bar mitzvahs to kids who become incredibly accomplished adults. I mean, the only lesson is Chaim Kashim, as they say in Hebrew, that life is hard. But let us also remember that Chaim Yafim, life is also beautiful. And what I hope that each of us can do amidst these ups and downs, which for 3 days I saw the extremes of, that we can truly appreciate the way Chaim Yafim, that life is indeed beautiful. Shabbat Shalom. All right, we are going to now continue with the 5 Maidenberg Sandrials up at the top. No, actually, you'll come here. I'll bring the Kiddush cup down to you tomorrow over there. So just go ahead and stay right there. I'm going to bring you the Kiddush cup. We're going to rise, page 55.
Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei b'ri hagafen. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu mitzvotav v'ratzav banu, v'shabbat kodsho v'yahavah v'ratzon hinanu, zikaron l'ma'aseh b'reishit, ki hu yom tefilah l'mikra'e kodesh. Zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim, ki banu b'charta, v'yotanu kidashta, mikol ha'avim, v'shabbat kodshecha, v'yahavah v'ratzon, hinchatanu, Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha'shabbat. Amen.
Yeah.
No, I didn't want some.
Just grape juice.
Oh, it's just grape juice. Have a slug.
They used to stick Manischewitz in there, but...
Oh, yum.
The good old days.
Yeah.
Wait, do you want some?
No, not into it. Grape juice is it.
Oh, yeah, thank you, yes. He said it's time to bless our children if they're with you, or anyone else who feel comfortable enough blessing. Thank you for that reminder. Yesimcha Elohim k'Ephraim v'Menashe, Yisimech Elohim k'Sara v'Yikar v'Kavaleah, Yivarecha Adonai v'Yisarecha, Yeher Adonai v'Navelecha v'Yivarecha, Yisa Adonai v'Navelecha, Yisem Lecha Shalom. May God bless you and keep you. May God's face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May God lift his right face toward you and grant you peace. And since you sounded so good in the Kiddush, why don't you just stay up there and lead Aleinu?
Okay.
All right.
Ego Rabbeinu kefo amonam, anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech, malchei hamachim, hakadosh baruch hu, she'unotei shamayim v'yosed haaretz, u'moshe yikaro b'shamayim imaha, u'shvinato zo, v'godlei meromim. Kakatu v'torato v'tatayam v'hashemcha el levavecha v'Adonai hu Elohim hashamayim v'ima'ah v'al haaretz mitah
Bartech Adonai Yitloch Le'olam Va'ed. We may be seated. We lovingly recall the memory of our departed relatives and friends whose yahrzeits we observe during the coming week, thinking especially today of George Afterman, Andre Ballant, Leslie Joseph Belikoff, Morris Elkanon Belikoff, Samuel Berkovich, Robert Berger, Avram Brisky, Sophie Cousin, Huguette Diane, Betty DeLuggage, Shirley Dorfman, Andrew Gooden, Sidney Greenstein, Alex Harris, Jack Jager, Raquel Contola, Vaco Contola, Ann Kaplan, Lena Kestenblatt, Jack Lehman, George Morris, Renee Nathan, Melvin Rifkin, Henry Ring, David Riskin, Benjamin Silverman, Molly Bauer Silverman, Sylvia Stein, Rosalina Van Gelder, Alexander Wallace, Shira Weisbach. And there's a lot of giants on that list in terms of what they gave to this congregation. And we are in the Shiva for David Rom, the brother of Amy Tesler. Our thoughts continue to be with you and Amy. To all those observing Yortzeit, we ask all those who are in mourning or observing Yortzeit, as well as anyone else who would choose to rise to the Mourner's Kaddish. It is on page 61. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah v'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich machutei v'chayechon v'yomechon v'yidchot beit Yisrael v'agala v'zman kariv v'yimru Yehei shemei rabbah mevorach v'yalam lo meo maya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh Vitadar, Vitale, Vitalal, Shnit Kutsha, Barichu, La'ela, Min Kol Birchata, Vishivata, Tushbechata, Venechemata, Damiran Be'alma, V'Yimru, Yehesh Lama Rama Min Shemaya, V'chaim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, V'Yimru, Oseh Shalom B'Rama, Huya Say Shalom, Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, V'Yimru, Amen. Okay, some announcements. Immediately after the service, there is both hors d'oeuvre kind of food, if you want that, or if you ate early, dessert kind of food, or if you just want to start with dessert, because life is short, that works too. So thank you to the Maidenberg Callan families for providing this this treat for immediately after service. It'll be in the main courtyard right down there. Tomorrow morning, services begin at 9:30. Avi Maidenberg becomes bar mitzvah. He will be chanting the Torah, chanting the Haftorah, leading the Torah service, leading Musaf, giving the Drash, and we look forward to all that. And I mean, you're pumped. We're pumped for you. Okay. Be here by 9-ish. And all right. Let's see. This week, there is Minyan on Monday and Thursday. Even though Monday is Memorial Day, there's still Minyan at 8 o'clock, but the office is closed. There's no preschool that day. There is Wednesday Torah study at Paulista Cafe. Next Friday night is confirmation and graduation for 7th graders. That is combined. That's 6:15 p.m. Next Saturday, it's the farewell to the Gordons Shabbat service. Longtime members and very active members of our congregation. And then that night, 6:15, Shavuot family services. They're only about 20 minutes, and then we have ice cream sandwiches. And then adults from 8 to midnight. We're going to be studying text during that period. Mine, at least the first part of mine, will be on the issue, as I mentioned, of gun control, and from the Jewish text perspective. And That starts at 8, from 8 to midnight. And then there's Shavuot services Sunday and Monday at 9:30. They're both followed by lunch. We have trouble getting minions at those two services, so if you can come, please do so. There's mahjong after services on Sunday. Excellent. Now that's next week we're talking about. Oh, thank you. I keep forgetting to count the Omer. So thank you. So let me get that going, even though we should have done it earlier. Doesn't matter. It's never really too late. All right. So we will stand up to count the Omer. Since I haven't found it yet, because I have to find it in 2 different books. There will be, hang on just a second, maybe more than a second while I find it, because, so in this book that we made here at Temple, they have a nice index where it'll be very easy to look up and find. Okay, 273. But since I have to get the number right, I mean, I know what number it is, but in Hebrew it's hard. 236. All right, we're talking Jackie Robinson tonight, just so you know. Okay. Because you don't say the number, but you give hints. Hineni mukhanum zuman, hineni mukhanum zuman, hineni mukhanum zuman, lakem mitzvat osei shel sfirat haomer, v'shkatuv b'torah, v'shvatem lachem b'mochrat l'shabbat b'yom haviechem, and omer ha'trufa shel ha'shabbatot, yot yena, ha'mochrat ha'shabbat ha'shvi'i, tizberu chamishim yom, baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu mechalam, asher kitshanu mitzvotav etzivanu, al sfirat haomer. Yom Shnayim v'Arba'im Yom Shehem Shisha Shavuot LaOmer. Tonight begins the 42nd day of the Omer. All right, we can be seated once again for the closing song. Okay. So, for those who are not familiar, if a pop musician dies, sometimes not just a pop musician, if we can make one of their songs fit at all, we've been honoring them at services. And so Alan White, the drummer of Yes, as well as the Plastic Ono Band, died this week. And we're going to sing Owner of a Lonely Heart, which will be familiar to 80s folks. And we're going to mash it up with Ele Hamda Libi, which means these my heart desired, have mercy on me, and do not turn away from us, talking to God. The song, being connected to God, not feeling alone, this song is trying to move on from feeling alone too, Owner of a Lonely Heart. I know it's got that big rock beat, and it's a very poppy song, but if you listen to the words, that actually is what it's about. So they go together, and the message is still important. Okay. So you won't find it in the book, even in the Hamda Levi. Ele Hamda Levi, Usana ve'ana titalem. Ele Hamda Levi, Usana ve'ana titalem. Ele Hamda Levi. Usana ve'alna titalem. Move yourself. You always live your life, never thinking of the future. Prove yourself. You are the move you make, taking chances, win or loser. See yourself, you are the steps you take, you, and that's the only way. Shake yourself, in every move you make, so the story goes. Owner of a lonely heart, owner of a lonely much better than owner of a broken heart, owner of a lonely heart. Say you don't want to chance it, you've been so before. Watch it now, the eagle in the sky, how we dancing one and only. You lose yourself, no, not for pity's sake. There's no real reason to be lonely. Be yourself, give your free will a chance. You've got to want to succeed. Owner of a lonely heart, owner of a lonely heart, much better than owner of a broken heart, owner of a lonely heart. Yeah, owner of a lonely heart, owner of a lonely heart, much better than owner of a broken heart, owner of a lonely heart. Elecham dalibi, echusana ve'ona titalem. Elecham dalibi, echusana ve'ona titalem. Elecham dalibi, echusana ve'ona titalem. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Josh Mailman, for streaming.